The reports coming now is that the budgetary allocation in the office of the Deputy President is being delayed by the Controller of Statehouse, Kinuthia Mbugua. This is the latest from the Nation that Nation is reporting. Now, the DP's office have not been receiving operational funds from last year, September. And this is viewed as part of the wider plan by the Statehouse Controller to scuttle William Ruto's budgetary demands. Now, it has emerged that allowances and benefits that staff that were hired by Public Service Commission and deployed in the office of Deputy President have also not been paid. And so Deputy President have taken it upon himself, one, to pay for operational costs, and have been covering the cost of his entire team. And the excerpt is saying, the Office of Deputy President has made its own arrangements to ensure operations are not interrupted. Fortunately, the PSC has been paying staff salaries. Deep Ruto's Communications Director, Emmanuel Talam. Emmanuel Talam works for Deep Ruto's communication team at the Office of Deputy President. Now, this is huyu ameandikwa na the government. Then Emmanuel, I know some people sometimes confuse them. Then Hussein Mohammed is employed by Deputy President. So Hussein Mohammed is not in the payroll of the government. Now, Emmanuel Talam is in the office of the Deputy President, Hapa Harambee, and now this one is paid by the government. So I read that part of this report that DP is supposed to fuel his cars at the national oil, I think something. Let me just yes. Reports further indicate that the vehicles assigned to DP Ruto's office were no longer fueling at the national oil filling stations, as should be the case, and he's opted now to fuel maybe in other petrol stations because he's supposed to fuel here. And I want to believe, I think it's something that is normal. It's automatic. He's not going to pay cash there. So if at the national oil, unless they ever went there and they were maybe rejected, or what exactly is happening there. Now, this story, what is shocking me here is the allocations stopped going to that office last year, September. We are in March 2022. And the period, why do you think DP Ruto have been silent or quiet about this? Then this information is also being released for public consumption. And I will tell you why. Remember, it is coming at a time when Davis Chirchir was appointed as head of staff in DP Ruto's office. And I think part of it was to, now that he has assumed that office, maybe he's the one that now releasing the dossiers. The budget first was in 2021, it was 1.4 billion, 437 million. Then it was reduced by 35 million and it became to 1 billion, 402 million, 500,000. So it had been sized down, and Kanini Kega is saying that they had approved, and DP Ruto is not being sabotaged financially. But one thing I know is this, this information is being released now, and they're releasing it strategically, first to show that DP Ruto is sidelined in government. I don't know whether the word is to show or to let Kenyans know. If there is a truth, then there is an element that he's being sidelined in government. Number two could be that the office of Deputy President is being undermined. Of course, this is something that has been going on. This is not something that is new. But I want to maybe bolster that narrative that the office of Deputy President is being undermined. I will not be shocked to listen in the rallies today, them running with this story and now saying they will now try to to magnify the story, to amplify the story, so that they want to get it. Thirdly, they're bringing it out for public debate. Maybe it's going to attract sympathy, so that if it's exposed, maybe after some time, of course, the different respective ministry, even the treasury, might be summoned in the National Assembly to give an explainer, and just through that process, this money might be released. So it is very strategic that they want this money. And that is why they are now doing it. At some appropriate time, they will get it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. So let's ask ourselves a question. On the other side of the government, why do you think that deliberately they may be delaying the finances in the office of Deputy President? And we will look at it holistically. There is something that I want us just to check on this. Kindly take a second and subscribe. And also click the notification bell. It's a request just above the subscription button. Then you also like our videos. I also want to say thank you to the fellas that normally share. I know that it's not in vain. Asanteni sana. Now, we are 4 months to general election, and the budget that will go to the office of Deputy President directly, the President, William Ruto, is not spending time in that office. In fact, he's not. I am looking, the most recent photo he held while in that office. I think I'm looking for it. I don't know. Someone was telling me he's even scared of going there. I don't know. He spends most of his time in Karen, and because he also has an office in Karen, so many times he operates from Karen. But the reason why this budget, this money is being delayed, is because they know that what the Ruto will be spending it for directly will be on a campaign mission. So it is just part of a strategy to clip down. And maybe, or more critically, why are the staff also affected is they also want to demotivate them. You know, these fellas around Deputy President, like someone like Emmanuel Talam, I follow him in Twitter. He is, if there is this issue of public servants playing politics, I think Emmanuel Talam is employed in the payroll of the government, but is so much specific, does his campaigns and publicly supports his boss, William Ruto. So it's not something that is new. So they also want to demotivate these fellas. Remember, they are in the office of Deputy President. There are members that are appointed there by PSC and the people that DP Ruto also have the mandate to appoint. That's why I feel that Davis Chirchir was appointed by DP Ruto. So that could be the other reason to cut off his campaign finances. 2, Uhuru is very angry with William Ruto. And he's normally very angry with William Ruto for one thing, criticizing the same government he is serving. And maybe deliberately is just saying, don't give him that money, because he wants the money from government. In the same government, he goes to roof of cars and goes to campaign and criticizes this government. And that is why intentionally this could be happening. It will be just a show of anger on Deputy President. That office, that there is nothing now that is going on there. That is when I feel is happening. Remember, and I wanted to ask yourself a question. If they're supposed to fuel at the national oil, which now I believe both even the president, even the deputy president and the MPs, especially the ones that benefit, that have this fuel as part of their benefits or package, they go at the national oil. Could it be that DP Ruto maybe had some other interest, and that's why now it doesn't go there? What could be that is a bit of a government, it goes to the process of the government, but then he subtitled it. I'm trying to tie this with, you remember the Putin jab, where he was being, where Ruto was really being criticized for having not taken the government recommended jab and bought his own jab, imported his own jab. I think it was Putin or something. Remember that? That issue, it was seen as going against the position of the government. So even on this issue of the national oil, I think this one, could it be that he has interest in that industry? Or maybe he owns a petrol station somewhere and he wants the proceeds to go there. Or even some of his members within UDA are running petrol stations. Like we know Oscar Sudi, I think Didimas Baraza was taken, I think was captured somewhere talking about a petrol station. That could be the probability. Then government is feeling like he is absconding, consuming the government aligned products or government aligned services. That is why they are also now not supporting his office. But that is just an opinion. The other aspect that I think might also bring the treasury not to give DP Ruto this budget is not just to cut off his campaigns, but to not to make the staff that work at the office of DP Ruto to be engaged in active politics. Or now, the fact that when they get that money, most of their missions, like whatever is at the office, and I know someone who is a very good friend of mine, I won't mention, who works as a director there, and many times I see him stroke her, because I don't want to be known, I see him stroke her in the streets, in these campaigns. In fact, when Ruto is supposed to be somewhere, that person goes there like 2 days before and to prepare ground. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, the fellas that work for DP Ruto at Harambee, most of them have been consumed in UDA structures. And they are some of his campaigners. And this might be something that does not work well with DP Ruto. And this can be done this way. Or this, what can cause this is this. There are fellas who are appointed there by DP Ruto, but there are fellas who are taken there by PSC. So maybe hawaelewani. So someone is leaking this information out there. You understand? And just not to make sure that this works. Now, lastly, I think the government wants to audit DP Ruto's expenditure in public court. They want to audit because they want this conversation to come out, and the trap has already worked. Because I mentioned that the budget is 1.4 billion, 1 billion 400 and something million, 1.4 billion and 800,000. Then it was reduced to 1.4 and 102. It was reduced by 35 million. So I think what the government wants to do, or what the political scenarios will play here, is they want the public to ask DP Ruto where that budget goes. And this is for political capital, because Raila Odinga is on record asking Ruto, where are you getting the money you're donating? Where are you getting the money you're doing this? Where are you getting the money you're doing that? So the fact that this is going to be laid in public, it's going to see that really maybe there is somehow he was misusing these funds. Or could also be just an audit over, these fellas just want to know how this money is being spent. Is it being taken to other areas? And I want to believe that one thing, I will not be shocked if the treasury is going to be summoned in the National Assembly to answer queries on this story. They might defend themselves by saying they have never received maybe budget statements on the expenditure of DP Ruto about on this. And that's why they have not released. Simply, it is as simple as that. Lastly, it might be about the budget. You know, DP Ruto's team had at some point already staging some dramas and some dealers tactics to jeopardize the budget making process. So maybe the treasury is also feeling, because your team is not helping us in terms of this budget making process, that's why we are not releasing that fund. And this could be the trap that, of course, we will see them turning down, then the money might be taken there. Ladies and gentlemen, all those were just my hypothesis and of course why. So you can also get to us and tell us what exactly is happening. Why do you think his budget is being clipped?